right, I'm going to take it from here, Homa. We have another tornado warning that we want to pass along. This one coming out of Culpeper County. In fact, it was a really heavy storm, and it is still storming heavily over downtown Culpeper. But now, downstream of there, enough spin in this storm to prompt a tornado warning for still southern sections of Culpeper County. Looks like we're getting into Fauquier County, the very kind of southern tip of it, and into Spotsylvania and Stafford counties, I believe. It's this red box right here. That's our actual tornado warning for this storm that's diving south out of Culpeper. And with it, enough rotation as it approaches places like Hartwood and Fredericksburg and Spotsylvania that we want everyone in the path of this storm to take shelter and to head inside and preferably into their basement or the lowest level of their home and wait out this storm, which is producing rotation and seems to be, another one of those storms that we've got to let you know about because of that tornado warning. So here is a tracker that we've put on this storm, which I believe is centered over, or at least close to Richardsville. That would be the first community. Richardsville's right here in the path of that storm. That storm is just back to your west. That is headed for Richardsville, Dunavant. I might be saying that incorrectly. I probably am. Brock Road, Chancellor, and eventually Fredericksburg. Of course, we know Fredericksburg very well, but they are far out ahead of this tornado-warned storm. However, they are in the path of it if it should hold together. So this was just issued. We'll get some information on it, let you know how long it's in effect. It is 5:48 right now. But Mike, if we could just put that tag on it so we can see the counties and how long this warning is in effect for. Thank you. There we go. Until 6:15 for parts of Culpeper, Fauquier, Spotsylvania, and Stafford. It's kind of bisecting all four counties where they come together here. They're all within that warning until 6:15. So that's for the next half hour or so. Here's the storm. We saw there was a tornado warning, upstream of this in Rappahannock County. It then moved through northern parts of Culpeper County just as a severe thunderstorm, but it looks like we've had another flare of rotation. We're trying to get a slice of that for you right now. And that prompted another tornado warning to kind of follow this off to the south and east. It's not looking really good, though, at least in terms of velocity. There's some indication south of Culpeper here that this did start to rotate as it moved out of the downtown area and is into more southern sections of the county. Again, where it comes together with Fauquier, Stafford, and Spotsylvania counties, right across Route 3. So here's Route 3. Stevensburg would be a good locator for you. The heart of the storm would be over Stevensburg. We've also got a live camera of Fredericksburg. So this downtown Fredericksburg looks really nice, right? It's probably not pointed in the direction of where this tornado-warned storm is coming from, but that is still well to their north and west. And as you can tell, it's going to take a little bit of time to get to Fredericksburg, but it is dropping southeastward at about 20-25 miles an hour and headed in that direction. Eventually, we'll cut across 95. So there's a storm coming out of Culpeper again, and in southern parts of the county, it looked like one of the communities, it was over Stevensburg. That would be where the worst of it is. Heavy rain, lots of lightning. So it's a loud storm. It is bringing drenching rain, and it is possibly also bringing rotation as it continues to move off to the south and east. So if you are in the path of this storm, if you are in this four-county area, you do want to take shelter, get inside your home, lowest level. We've had a busy day full of a lot of storms. This is our second tornado warning, which has prompted us to come on the air and stay on the air. And this may not be the last one. So Hartwood, obviously, you see yourselves on the map there, a well-known spot in the path of that storm. We've got two definitive clusters of severe thunderstorms we're following. One for all of our southern counties that we just mentioned with the tornado warning. Additionally, we do have this area of thunderstorms in Montgomery County. It looks like that severe thunderstorm warning was extended southward now to include the spur, top side of the Beltway, even getting into the district itself, the northernmost points. So that latest warning for D.C., Fairfax, Montgomery, and even a slice of Prince George's County. That's going to go until 6:15. This is looking not like a rotating segment, but more just like your average straight line wind event with a thunderstorm that actually we haven't had a lot of reports of wind damage, but at any point these storms can become intense enough to produce wind damage, whether that's, with trees or debris or power lines, and can cause power outages too. So you've got two distinct areas, one to the south, one to the north, but this northern one looks to finally be getting into the city. The city hasn't really seen anything. That'll bring them some heavy rain, thunderstorms, and lightning. Baltimore's been getting pounded themselves with heavy rain and lightning. They've even had some flash flood warnings issued. And then across the bay, you see some twin warnings here. Severe thunderstorm warnings with a bit of rotation. That's what came through southern Maryland earlier, lifted across the Potomac. So from the eastern shore to Baltimore, back around to northern D.C., and then in central Virginia, we are seeing those 4 pockets of severe thunderstorms. Stepping out of the way so you can take a look at this camera here in Gaithersburg. It's been showing us some beautiful cloud segments basically all afternoon as one storm after another has rolled by. You're actually now seeing the storm move out. That's why you're seeing a little bit of that lightning on the horizon with the cloud top moving away from Gaithersburg. They were just kind of pounded by this storm that's now centered over Rockville and getting into northwest D.C. But the worst of it is just about to pass you. It is still raining. You still have the storm over you, but as you can tell, yeah, zooming in on Gaithersburg itself, that's the last of it. It is now, at least the heart of it has pushed south of you on 270, and it is pretty ugly, probably over Rockville, over Bethesda, over Silver Spring, over Olney, and that'll drop into the city itself. So it's interesting to kind of see the changing of the track of these storms. That line, which formed over the mountains, was moving almost due west to east, and now is starting to drop from Montgomery County into D.C. and Prince George's County. So that's that. We'll get back to our tornado warning, which prompted us to come on and stay on here. This is a tornado warning that goes until 6:15 for a storm coming out of Culpeper County and eventually getting into Stafford and Spotsylvania counties. Hartwood in the path of the storm. And also, you know, a lot of this area, if you're maybe out ahead of it, maybe not even in the warning, maybe you're in Fredericksburg or one of our more western communities from downtown Fredericksburg, you want to take shelter with this storm. It does have in the core of it some very heavy rain, a lot of lightning. We did see some rotation coming out of Culpeper County, so that's what prompted the tornado warning. And this will go until 6:15. So, yeah, a good chunk of our viewing area in northern Virginia. This does include you. We're putting a tracker on this storm to show you that it is bearing down on Richardsville right now. This is at 5:54, Dunavant at 6:01. Brock Road at 6:08, Chancellor at 6:10, and then eventually Fredericksburg around 6:18. So this is dropping due southeast, but it is going through our southernmost cities and communities here. And it is a nasty storm that has a history of producing rotation. Don't think we had an actual tornado confirmed upstream of this when it was over Rappahannock County. And before that, our first tornado warning of the day was up over Warren County, Front Royal, Virginia. So we've kind of watched this storm over the past hour and a half as it has gone from Front Royal to now knocking on the door of Fredericksburg. So it has traveled a great distance, but it has maintained its intensity and keeps kind of flaring up with the rotation. So the worst of it now Remington and points southward. Here's our velocity tracker, and where you see this difference in the greens and reds, it indicates some turning of the winds with height. And that's where, if there is rotation, the tornado would be somewhere right between Lignum and Richardsville, north of Flat Run. So these, as we zoom in, are some smaller communities that we can really at least give you an idea of where exactly this is. So that's where it's overhead. It's moving off to the south and east. So places in the path of that that we just showed you would be impacted. This is a look at our tower cam, I believe. Correct? So this is coming from us in Bethesda. And we must be looking off to the west there. You can see some really nice clearing behind that anvil of that severe thunderstorm warning. And that is a dramatic shot of what is now a severe thunderstorm over Bethesda as well. They're in that warning too. So that's coming from our tower cam. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings that have been in effect for a while. I mean, we've watched them come out of the mountains, move through our northwestern suburbs, and are now over Montgomery and D.C. and Prince George's. You've got another flare back to the west here. This was a severe thunderstorm warning briefly as it went through Winchester. It's now just some showers that's kind of trailing the main event. This is the main event. This is what prompted the tornado watch today, the severe thunderstorm watch. This is the reason we've been on air. This is a cold front moving through on a very hot and humid day. Oh, here's another tornado warning. It looks like that was just issued for Talbot County along the eastern shore, so across the Chesapeake. Not totally unexpected, as we've seen these storms kind of reflare as they cross the bay. That happens sometimes. So from Oxford to Trapp here in Talbot County, this is right along the water just south of St. Michael's. Beautiful area. But if it remains a tornado warning and continues off to the north and east, it'll interact with Easton, you know, a much bigger town that a lot of people live in there. So that is one tornado warning that's Baltimore's jurisdiction, and they're probably on the air following that warning. They had another one north and east of them in Harford and Cecil counties that dropped. We have this one south of us in northern Virginia, issued for parts of Culpeper, Fauquier, Stafford, and Spotsylvania counties. And this is the one we're staying on the air for until 6:15 or until it drops. It might weaken. Sometimes they drop them earlier. But either way, you can see there's like several pockets of these really nasty thunderstorms that have formed today on what we knew would be an active day. It's very warm, it's very humid, you've got a cold front moving in, and a lot like last Tuesday, which was the last day we were on the air kind of really tracking severe thunderstorms. So now this is just a lone tornado warning. It looks like the severe thunderstorm warning around it dropped. So, oh, it didn't? Okay, well, I guess that system's a little slow.
Kayla, I did just want to quickly mention, getting a number of damage reports coming in from this line out of Montgomery County now, non-tornado warned,
right.
But starting to see a lot more reports of trees down in Gaithersburg, Montgomery Village, Brookville, including several trees onto houses. So this storm, not tornado warned there in southern Montgomery and kind of clipping northern Loudoun there, but it certainly has a history of producing some damage now as it's making its journey towards the northern portion of the D.C. Beltway there.
Very interesting. Not a considerable severe thunderstorm warning. Usually those are issued for the really nasty ones with the straight line winds, but that's why you just have to take these all seriously. There's a lot of categories. If it's a bad storm, you just want to seek shelter. So I would say that is different from all the other storms we've had today. This one's actually producing damage. So that being said, as we watch it bear down on D.C. itself and the top side of the Beltway, everyone needs to be very careful with that storm. If this one's actually producing something and trees are coming down and trees are in homes, this is a very serious storm. Not to take away from the other storms in the tornado warning, but we haven't had any damage reports out of those. So a really ugly setup for what would be one of the most populated areas of our D.C. metro. And zooming in on that a little bit closer, you can see the line is exactly from northeastern Loudoun County, southwestern Montgomery County, straight across the spur. So you're starting to talk about McLean, Potomac, Bethesda, Rockville, Silver Spring, Olney. All of you are in the worst of this storm. Now, the worst of the winds could be just out ahead of it, which is literally bisecting the top side of the Beltway here. And that would mean anyone southeast of there getting into northwest and northeast D.C. That severe thunderstorm warning is clearly producing a lot of damage, and you want to get inside and away from any of these trees that could easily fall. We've got another severe thunderstorm warning here, this one for Anne Arundel and Prince George's County. This is also a tornado possible severe thunderstorm. So this one also has the potential to produce a tornado, produce rotation. But as we've kind of hit home with here, taking a live look at our Boulevard Apartments Rockville camera, it doesn't matter if it's tornado warning or not. It can seriously produce some damage. And we're getting damage reports out of our old severe thunderstorm warning over Montgomery and D.C. Okay, so that pairs up nicely with the camera that you're seeing over Rockville. Heavy storm overhead, yes. I mean, visibility is still kind of good from this angle, but they were under the worst of the storm right there. Radar is pretty much lit up with all kinds of different colors indicating all sorts of different warnings. Now, I believe if we switched over to our tower cam, guys, because that definitely shows heavy storm overhead. Yeah, this is our Bethesda tower cam, so you can tell we're obviously under the heart of the storm with the heavy rain and the damaging wind potential. So this right here, and maybe we can even in the past 30 minutes put movement on it to kind of track it and see where it's been and where it's going right there. And it's pretty much lined up exactly from Reston through about Berwyn here, getting into Prince George's County. And this is where we've had reports of wind damage, meaning trees down on homes, that sort of thing. So as we track that over time, it's going to slice right through the city. So Chillum, downtown D.C., all within the next 10 to 15 minutes. You're in the path of this storm. Bailey's Crossroads at 619, Braddock at 625, and Oxon Hill at 629. So this is just about everybody here inside the Beltway. We do have a driving shot of the Beltway here. If you know where on the Beltway, let me know. Beltway's pretty big, but it does look like we would be on the top side of it, I'm guessing. That's where the heaviest of the rain is, moving through parts of Montgomery and Prince George's County. So that is the Beltway that we're looking at. That's for a severe thunderstorm pushing into D.C., about to bring them the damaging winds, the heavy rain, and the lightning. This, what Mike's pointing out, is our tornado warning, which was issued for parts of Culpeper, Fauquier, Spotsylvania, and Stafford County. That's still in effect until 6:15, and that's the reason we're staying on here as it approaches Hartwood. So Hartwood, Virginia, you're up next with the worst of that storm. This tornado warning goes until 6:15, but there's also a bigger severe thunderstorm warning that surrounds it that goes until 6:45. That includes Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg is just outside of the tornado warning. They are not included, but they are included in the severe thunderstorm warning. So that's, again, the southern pocket of storms that we're following. Mike's zooming in here with the velocity to just kind of see if we are still seeing rotation within the storm. And we are a little bit. I mean, there's kind of some right here where you see the green and the red, the light green and the light red. I'm assuming that is an update to our tornado warning that just got issued.
They just shrunk it down just a little bit, so they just updated it right there.
They're going to continue to do that until about 6:15 when they'll let it expire. I suspect if they see the rotation reflare, they may reissue another tornado warning. But in the meantime, that severe thunderstorm warning will cover Fredericksburg and 95. So that's what we have down south. You do have a bit of a gap, but soon closing the gap is this severe thunderstorm dropping from north to south into D.C. itself, and then east of there, including Bowie, and over towards Annapolis. That's our next severe thunderstorm warning, and that is kind of moving north and east. You've got this one area of the storm over Baltimore kind of dropping south down 97, but then we also have this storm right over the city itself, which is pushing into Prince George's County. So you can see that kind of almost converging over central Prince George's County. You're looking at our tower cam now, which obviously you can't see anything because the worst of the heavy rain is over Bethesda at the moment. It is nonstop pouring, I'm sure. Thunder, lightning, all of that stuff you want to be seeking shelter from, with damaging wind potential with any of these severe thunderstorms. So there's tornadoes for rotating wind, but there's severe thunderstorm warnings for just straight line wind, which we relearn time and time again, year after year, can do as much damage as a tornado and can be very scary. That especially can be very scary to be out driving in this sort of weather. Obviously, you can tell from our camera that's not some good visibility. So if you don't have to be out in this sort of weather, if you can ride it out, please do. Just wait for these storms to move through. These began about 4:30. It's now 6 o'clock. We've probably got another hour or so tracking them through the whole area. You can see they're bisecting 95, downtown Baltimore to now downtown D.C. I mean, I can't imagine anyone's going anywhere quickly on 95 at this moment because you've got this huge storm coming out of Montgomery and Howard over the southern portion of it, and then up 95 into Baltimore. They had flash flood warnings already because that storm has just been sitting over them. That's downtown Baltimore, a flash flood warning until 8:15. And then south and east of there, converging over portions of northern Anne Arundel and eastern Prince George's County, you have this severe thunderstorm warning. It's kind of, these two pockets are all kind of just like becoming one. And so that damaging wind threat now extends out into Anne Arundel County. But even east of them, far before we got a warning for the city, we've had a lot of action along the eastern shore. And those are multiple warnings stacked up, including a tornado warning for Talbot, just south and west of Easton, Maryland, off to the north and east. It looks like our driving live shot. I'm going to ask Mason, are we still on the Beltway? It doesn't look like we're on the Beltway. Okay, yeah, it looks like we're in a town somewhere, but we're going to work on figuring out where that is. But, you know, a good example of probably what a lot of people are seeing, which is heavy, heavy rain, very reduced visibility, and the wind can also be very scary when you're out there too. So an ugly afternoon full of several ugly storms out there. We've had several tornado warnings in parts of the area. This is the second one that's prompted us to stay on the air. And in fact, we watched this cluster of storms come all the way out of Warren County over Front Royal and hold together and is now just about over Chancellor, Virginia, Hartwood, Virginia. You two are both seeing the worst of the storm bearing down on you at the moment. This looks like it'll cross 95 and head towards communities like Widewater and Fairview Beach. They're included in this severe thunderstorm warning. And then if it continues to hold together, the this might start to move into parts of southern Maryland across the Potomac. Yeah, another beltway shot that you're looking at, too. Traffic at a standstill. No surprises there, as we've seen the heavy rain kind of just drop in on them and brings everything to a grinding halt at 6 p.m. during the heart of the evening commute. So always the worst timing with these thunderstorms. There's just no way around it. This is a final check here of the velocity tracker here within our tornado warning, which, where we continue to see some rotation. And this would be just north and east of Route 3. Dunavant, I might not be saying that right, but lovely town that is just to the north and east of where the worst of the rotation is. That seems to be like it would be just staying a little bit north maybe of where it is, but that kind of seems to be riding along Route 3, anywhere between there and Chancellor, Virginia. That's where the rotation within the storm is within the tornado warning. So that's our tornado warning. Let's get back out and just, Mike, let me know if there's any, any more damage reports we want to pass along for our Montgomery County D.C. storm.
So far, the damage reports I've seen is about the same. Baltimore is getting hit real hard. That's a considerable flash flood warning up there, and reports of some power flashes in the city of Baltimore as that storm went by. So that's a heavy storm. Hampstead's getting a lot of lightning up that way, and then Eastern Shore, they're watching several of those storms are rotating out that way. So folks out there need to be safe. But latest we have large hail reports from a few of these storms, including in Montgomery County, and then on areas around Brighton Dam Road there in Brookville, dealing with trees down, including a tree down on a house, it sounds like, in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Heavy storms there in Montgomery County.
Right. We'll have a reporter heading out to that or somewhere else. It seems like we've got some things to pick from. There's a live look at Gaithersburg, which the worst of that storm is south of you, and you can see how much visibility has increased since we last looked at this camera, because that is all pushed down now over the spur. It's clearly right over us here in Bethesda, McLean, Potomac, Chilham. All communities that are just getting hit the hardest. There's our driving shot of the Beltway, top side of it, as heavy rain and probably some ponding on the roadways too. So as Mike said, yeah, they're just having a heck of a hard time up in Baltimore, several rounds, and that's where the flood watch was issued. So northeastern Maryland, that is just like lit up like a Christmas tree with severe thunderstorm warnings at the moment. We have our warning here in this storm that's dropping into D.C. D.C. has largely seen nothing. So this is it as it drops south in from Montgomery County and that pocket in northern Virginia with the tornado warning there. The hail warning was new, or the hail report was new. We hadn't really heard of any hail with any of these storms yet, but it seems that was in our Montgomery County storm, which seems like it's very strong. So.
And I know it's not our area, but watch this storm right here. I'm not sure what county, just north and west of Madison there. That one definitely,
twisting.
It's got what we would call the look to it. So be careful. They're watching that one at the National Weather Service there.